The British Empire. The British would like to tell you that it was the greatest empire in the world. Spanning from Canada to Africa, all the way to India, excuse me? If it's not here, then where is it? It's not in the Pacific, it's in the Atlantic? Yes, today we have moved the entirety of India into the Atlantic. How is this going to change World War II? How is America still colonized? Some of these questions will and some will not be answered. Who are we going to play as? Well, it's standing right in the middle, baby. India, of course. With Mr. Lord Linlithgow. Sorry, excuse me, Lord Linlithgow. You know, maybe that's how the British conquered India, they just confused them with their names. We're gonna go with historical focuses on, and we shall begin. And here we are as the British Raj, the jewel of the empire. You might notice that it's slightly sideways, although with the shape that it has, it doesn't look like much has changed. Of course, playing as India means we have to deal with a horrible, outdated focus tree. But you know what? We are going to make it work. The most interesting part of this focus tree are just these focuses right here. Every other focus is just as basic as it could be. Anyway, for now, we are going to build the Great Indian Industry, which consists of 13 civilian factories and 2 military factories. Also one dockyard. The two big changes this is going to have is that we connect the entirety of Europe with America, and that the British Navy is completely locked in the north area of the map. So how did they create their empire in this world, huh? Maybe they conquered India first, then went south. Since the British Navy is locked in the north, it means Italy is gonna have a complete naval domination in the south. Speaking of Italy, our friend Mr. Excuse me, Mussolini? Well, it looks like while India was passing through the Indian Ocean and going to the Atlantic Ocean, it influenced Mussolini a bit too much. So much, in fact, that his face has taken the shape of India. You know what? At least he looks happy. And he should be happy because there's nothing preventing him from winning the Ethiopian War. The Spanish Civil War has begun, looking really tiny compared to us. In fact, I think India might be a bit bigger than it's supposed to be. Just very slightly bigger. And Ethiopia has capitulated extremely quickly. Very good job, Mr. Indialini. Or would it be Rajolini? Regardless, very good job. We still have Burma, by the way. Or is it Myanmar? Anyway, it's not going to do much since I'm not going to attack Japan, so the Asian front should really benefit Hirohito now. The China-Japan war has begun, and this pushes the world tension to over 10%, which now means we can go into our focus right here and click on this beautiful focus, which is going to let us slowly become independent. A few months later, we find ourselves at a crossroads. Are we going to join the Soviets, or are we going to join the Axis? Well, considering there's two fascist nations, Germany and Italy, two democratic nations, UK and America. Sorry, France, you capitulate in the first few months, so you don't count. And there's only one communist nation. Well, it only makes sense that we go communist. So we are going to seek help from Mr. Stalin. With Stalin's help secured, we can now start the civil war whenever we want. Although I have noticed that if we go to our technology here, we don't even have trains yet. That's going to be a slight issue, but in 108 days, we are going to be rolling, baby. Wait, do trains roll? What exactly do trains do? You know what? We don't need trains. Civil War, let's go. Don't mind me, by the way, gonna make some preparations for the Civil War. Just a small, tiny change. There you go, beautiful division, let's save it. And with the Civil War about to begin in one day, we are going to select all of our units and convert them to this new small division we made. Ah, beautiful. Truly the most overpowered division. And the Civil War has begun, we are at war with half of our country. And you might think, wow, this is gonna be such a huge Civil War. There's literally 4,000 units on our side and 10,000 on the enemy side. So all of this is about 15,000 dudes fighting. And all of these horrible divisions we have, well, we are going to convert them to something a little bit stronger. Just a tiny bit. Oh, would you look at that? The AI units are extremely weak. I wonder why. And Delhi is about to be taken. And the British Raj has capitulated. So we are now ruled by whoever this guy is. Subhas Chandra Bose. Actually easier to read than the previous guy's name. And since we got Stalin to help us, we are also in the Soviet Union. If I was the Allies, I would be slightly nervous right now. I kind of forgot about this. Considering that if we release them, they're gonna take the north area and we won't have access to Canada and America, we are not going to release them. So Civil War, let's go. It's looking slightly scary, especially since we have to worry about both the north and the south, and they might in fact slightly outnumber us too. But guess what, Pakistan? I'm in the Comintern. So Mr. Stalin, can you please help me? Thank you. Burma has also seceded. Maybe we shouldn't have declared independence. But thankfully Burma only has one civilian factory, so we are going to be just fine without them. And their color is actually not bad. The north side is almost finished. The only issue is Bangladesh, but the Soviets are really helping us. And Pakistan has capitulated. Just in time, actually, because World War II is just about to start. Poland has fallen very quickly, so we are going to right-click on this French province right here. And do you see how it says France, India? Well, we cannot have that, so justify war goal. There is one issue with declaring war on France, though. We are going to have to deal with Canada up here. I was also worried we'd have to deal with Bermuda, but thankfully, if I try to make a front line on Bermuda... Oh, wait, actually, I can. Well then, we're also going to have to deal with the Bermuda front. You don't hear that every day. But you know what? At the same time, I'm certain the Soviet AI can handle all of this. So we are going to select all of our units and send them right here, baby. France is falling extremely quickly, so let's declare war on them and try to take this one port here. I'm actually not certain that we're going to take it in time. And we did not, in fact, take it on time. Mr. Adolf, can I please have some military access? Thank you. And with Mr. Adolf accepting our request, our plan still works. So we are going to send everybody on a naval invasion to Portsmouth. Thankfully, the Soviets are handling the front very well. The Bermuda front, well, they took one province. And thankfully, we don't have to worry about Brazil, but we should capitulate the Allies before they join. And since the Soviets are at war with the Allies, Finland has also now joined the Allies. This shouldn't change much, it's actually gonna make the Germany war even easier. And of course Mussolini, even though he doesn't have to deal with the British Navy, is still struggling in Ethiopia. What are we gonna do with you, Mussolini? And stop looking at me like that. It took a tiny bit, but the AI is as usual extremely dumb, so we are launching our naval invasion. And with the port secured, we may now send everybody to the UK. Invading the UK as India really does hit different, especially when using British generals to do so. I really wonder what Douglas Gracie is thinking as his troops are about to take London. It's been slightly harder to take them than anticipated, but thankfully this is giving us a lot of war score for the peace deal. They should capitulate if we manage to snake this unit around all the way to Glasgow. Glasgow has been taken. Once Edinburgh falls, that should be the end of the Allies. Actually no, never mind, they are at 98% towards capitulation. Really, UK, you still think you can recover from all of this? Mussolini, by the way, is once again being a complete embarrassment. And the Allies have capitulated. Now we're gonna do something even more cheeky, and we are going to puppet France. We don't need all of it, the only part we do actually need is the capital. And the peace deal is done. You might notice something interesting here. Vichy France is completely gone. Since we puppeted France and we took the capital, they got immediately annexed into our puppet. Very slightly overpowered. We also got Quebec, and we divided Canada into Indian Canada and into Soviet Canada. I'm not really certain why, but Stalin insisted. And before I forget, we also got the most unimportant areas of Australia. And we also left the UK in Scotland, where it belongs. I'm looking at this new border we have here, and I don't really like how the US is looking. So you know what? For the sake of pretty borders, America, justify war goal. Excuse me? Shouldn't Barbarossa begin in 6 months? Well, you know what, Mr. Stalin? I have to deal with America, so I'm not going to really help you. It's not looking that good for the Soviets. It's been 2 months and they've already lost Kiev. Just hold on, Stalin. Hold on long enough until I take out America. Most of our troops are in position, so America, declare war. A lot of green bubbles, that's extremely good. And also our very first little tiny encirclements. The hardest part with taking America is always the initial push. But once we're done with this area, we should be able to just swarm the rest of America. New York has been taken, so now we can push to the rest of America. We also got our first heavy tank out, so it should really help. And we have secured ourselves another very beautiful encirclement up here in the north. But taking America as India is really a struggle, as you can probably tell by the casualties. So it's been almost a year, we have pushed this much. Are we going to save the Soviets in time? Not really, actually, not really. But they still hold Leningrad, so maybe. And now Washington has been encircled, and the capital of America is now Indian. And at this point, the front is now long enough where we can just roam free into the rest of America. Oh no, the game is completely frozen. Oh no, Soviets! Well, it looks like we were not in fact fast enough. With the map looking like this, I wonder what would happen if I selected my tank right here and I drew a line all the way to Chicago. Nothing actually, because America has insane defense. Took a little bit longer than expected and it does not look elegant at all, but the great Detroit encirclement has been done. And after what was possibly the most painful war I've ever had against the USA in HOI4, they are finally about to capitulate. Just 13% more. I'm also being invaded by the south, by the way, so I should probably try to rush the USA, and I'm going to accomplish that by calling Canada in and invading from Vancouver. Is this a smart idea? Probably not, but the ports are giving us enough supply so we can continue. And San Francisco has been taken. We are going to leave exactly one tank here as a garrison, and as for the other two, they are going to go all the way to Los Angeles. And America has capitulated. I could have done something interesting with the peace deal, but since I have to fight all of these, I just puppeted them. But I did take Greenland and all of Brazil. This is absolutely horrendous. And while all of our troops are migrating through the great Indian plains into Germany, we are going to justify on them. And the war goal is ready, so Germany, declare war. Well, considering the amount of green bubbles we have, it looks like Germany is going to be a lot easier than America. Quite a lot easier. Our heavy tanks are absolutely obliterating them. And we are now pushing into Germany proper. Indeed, France is also looking quite thick. And once we take Berlin, Germany should capitulate. And Germany has capitulated. Now to deal with this beautiful Italian man right here. And the Axis has finally capitulated. Let's go through the peace deal. The peace deal is done, and as you can see, we have fulfilled Mussolini's dream and made Italy into India. You might also notice a very weird green color up here in the north. And that color is no one else than India and Australia. Why India and Australia? Because I like their flag, and they're also in a very unfortunate situation down here. Or should I say up here? As for the rest, I let the AI handle it, and as you can probably tell, they did a horrible job. The Axis still exists, and Slovakia is part of the Japanese faction. Italy and Ethiopia also still exists. So while all of this was happening in Europe, my puppet Mexico got a civil war. And one of the sides joined, who else? Mr. Hirohito. So we are going to have to move all the way to Japan and deal with the man himself. So let's select our best heavy tanks, set up a naval invasion, and land straight for Nagasaki. And would you look at that, we're passing through our old location. It feels only slightly weird to look at this. And the naval invasion has begun. Our tanks are looking absolutely horrible, but well, we are playing as India, so that's to be expected. Thankfully, Japan has absolutely nobody here. Thank you very much, Japan. Now that we have secured our landing, we just have to wait for the rest of the units to arrive, and that should be it. You know, Japan, maybe you shouldn't have your entire army here when your island looks like this. And Tokyo is about to be taken, very beautiful. And Tokyo has been taken. And Japan has capitulated. Our war score is absolutely horrible, but that's to be expected. Oh my god, China, why would you do this? They took the north of Japan, but they let Hirohito alive in the south. Why, China? Absolutely disgusting. Although we're not really any better, because I wanted to give this to Italy and East Africa, but I accidentally took these two states here, so this also looks slightly disgusting. But you know what? We have made a global Indian empire. This actually looks quite beautiful now. Oh yeah, Mexico is now also partly Chinese. So what would happen if India was in the Atlantic? Well, you would get global Indian domination, especially with India and Australia. Thank you so much for watching. A huge thanks to Bing Bong and his own. A big thanks to MappingNet and Corvonet as well. And also to all the other members. If you want to see more insanity, you can also become a member. Like the video if you enjoyed it, dislike it if you unenjoyed it. I love you very much, and goodbye. Mwah.